What is good, YouTube? What's good, everybody? It's Aquarius Leviathan Prophecy, and today's video is about the New York Giants and what's wrong with the New York Giants. Now, I've wrote down a few things that's wrong with the New York Giants, and I know I've seen a lot of people do these realistic rebuilds, and they do these 5 hours, 10 hours. Like you could do all the rebuilds you want, right? Like in terms of in real life, in terms of um, actually getting the players and the system and everything on point, it all starts with the team. I mean, if you look at my Knicks was where the New York Giants was 10 years ago, right? Like we finished 7-9, 5-12, 7-9, 6-10. We were bad, right? Our early 2010, we were bad. 2010, we wasn't really that bad. Obviously, we did finish 6-10, but we missed the playoffs. 2011, obviously, we won the Super Bowl. 2012, we followed that by a very good 12 wins, I believe. Um, and after that, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's where we, no, 16, we were pretty good. So I'd probably say 2013, 14, 15, we were bad. 16, we were good. 17, we crashed again. 18, we were bad. 19, we were bad. 20, we were bad. 21, we wasn't really that bad. Made the playoffs and this and that. So it was just an up and down roller coaster, right? Like whose fault is that? You see a lot of teams um revamp, retool. You see the 49ers, I think like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they were the laughing stock. They wasn't really that good. They blew everything up. Now look at them. They were they were close to winning a Super Bowl, but obviously it didn't happen. You look at teams like the Eagles, the Cowboys, now the Commanders making all these moves. Um, but we're stuck. We're still stuck in the ditch. I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get that. We still stuck in the ditch. Um, okay, so I haven't write anything down, but I'm gonna make a list on the things that I know the Giants should need. Right. So I have my marker, my red marker right here. So I'm gonna write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things the G men need in 2025. Okay. First, we need a quarterback. Okay. First of all, we need a quarterback. Okay. Second of all, fix the O line in the draft. We need to fix the O line through the draft. Um, for years and you know what, we've tried that. Justin Pugh. Obviously, we thought Eric Flowers was going to become something. He didn't. Uh, Weston Richburg. Like we tried to draft offensive linemen, it just never works out. And I remember my head coach used to say like, drafting offensive linemen and developing them is very hard. Like out of all the positions in the NFL, the offensive line is the hardest to get down. Why? I don't know. He never told me why, but he just told me like it's the hardest to get down. Um, it's not like you throwing a wide receiver or you throwing a running back out there because all they got to do is just catch the ball. Some running backs are good in protection, some are not. That's why you see a lot of them sub out, in critical situations like third, fourth down. and stuff like that. Like they'll be on the field first and second, but when it's that third down, fourth down, they sub out, because there's certain running backs that can pass protect than others. You know what I'm saying? Um, Quarterback, listen, when the Giants took Saquon Barkley that year, I get it. None of those quarterbacks pan out. Not Barkley. Baker Mayfield didn't pan out. Josh Rosen didn't pan out. Sam Darnold didn't pan out. So the Giants obviously made a very wise and smart business move. Take the best running back in that draft. That was obviously Saquon Barkley. Now, fast forward to this year, you had the same situation. Now, obviously, the Giants were picking 6, but they could have easily trade up. Where like for me, like we don't know how these draft picks are gonna pan out. You know, through the years. Like this is not the NBA where you get bird rights on your draft picks. Like, oh, my pick is unprotected or protected or whatever. Once you get picks, you get picks. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of teams that went into the draft with 13, 12 picks and they bombed it all. Jets, Browns, you know what I'm saying? So and the Giants had 3 first round picks when they traded for who was it? Odell, I believe. They picked Dexter, they picked Baker, who obviously didn't pan out. Um, who else they picked? I think they picked Jose Jimenez. So they had 3 first round picks and they whiffed on that. So when it comes to drafting a quarterback, yes, I believe in this draft, 2 might probably hit. I don't know how many in total, probably 5 if I'm guessing. So out of the 5, I'm guessing 2 is gonna hit. 2 is gonna miss. No, two is gonna hit. Probably 3 or 1 is gonna flop, and the rest are just gonna end up as backups. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at Marcus Mariota, you look at David Carr, number 1 pick. They signed him to a 7-year, I think $36 million, $46 million. Didn't live up to that contract, Like Michael Vick, first round pick, threw a lot of money at him, didn't pan out. He was very fun to watch, didn't pan out. So did the Giants made a mistake by not drafting a quarterback and sticking with Daniel Jones? Because with Daniel Jones, at least Daniel Jones, because like it had to dawn on me, like, okay, so you're bringing in a quarterback. He's gonna have to learn a new playbook, right? Whatever he learned in college is not, what you're learning in the NFL, and he's gonna have to sit. So whether or not Daniel Jones stinks up the joint, they're not gonna put him in that because of the situation. Probably in preseason you might see him, but other than that, they're probably gonna go with Andrew Luck if Daniel Jones gets hurt again. Okay. So you're not gonna see him for the severe. You're not gonna see him for the future. Um, but the Giants made a mistake by not drafting a quarterback. They didn't pick an offensive line, even though they went out in free agency, which was the worst thing you can do. Because you never want to build your team around free agents. We tried that with Nate Soldier. We threw a lot of money at Nate Soldier, thinking that for years he protected Tom Brady's blind side, right? Came over here, didn't do diddly crap, right? We keep overpaying for these free agencies, and they never pan out. Waller, we thought he was gonna what he did. Obviously, he got hurt that year, but the previous year he balled out. Came over here, didn't do nothing. You look at Golden Tate. Golden Tate gave us our best production. I was the receiver, so we thinking, maybe his partner can do the same. We bring in Galladay. Galladay didn't do a damn thing. You know, Waller, like I said again, the previous year, he balled out. Came over here, didn't do nothing. Now we overpaid for Burns. We did. We did. We overpaid for Burns. So if he doesn't produce for the, let's say he doesn't produce in the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 games, still learning the system. Like you had all training camp, you had all off season, you had 3 preseason games. Like, don't give me that crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give me that crap. Oh, I'm still like, no, no, dude. Like, like they gave you all that money for a reason. They gave you all that money for a reason. You still can't produce. And I noticed that the Giants are buffering their defense. You know, they're getting safeties and cornerbacks and not addressing the O line like they should. And like I said, that's a bad investment when you're. That's the third thing. Never build in free agency. You never want to build in free agency. And the reason why is that players don't necessarily pan out the way you think they should. Like just because a certain player did spectacular and good things in the current team doesn't mean that they're gonna bring it over here because they play differently. You know, their Carolina defense plays different from the New York Giants defense. You know, for years we've been in the 4-3. Now we in the 3-4. So Burns has always been playing in the 4-3. So him reverting to the 3-4 is going to be new to him, right? It's going to be new to him. Now, I don't know if Carolina plays a 3-4 for three. I don't know if Carolina plays a 3-4 as well, but if they don't, then it's going to be a learning curve. So if he doesn't get a couple of sacks or, you know, if he doesn't get any pressure, it's like, wow, we gave all that money to him for nothing again, you know? So you never want to build in free agency. Now, obviously, building free agency is a good thing if you have clarity, if you have insurance, you know, just plugging in little holes in here and there, you know. But we brought in how many offensive linemen? So we just mixing and matching. So that tells me our offensive lineman is still not fixed. Still not fixed. I mean, we drafted Neal, who was supposed to be the best guard or the best offensive lineman in the draft. Comes here, piss poor. Now, obviously, Andrew did the same thing, but obviously Andrew bounced back, you know, because we can't have 2 bad offensive linemen now, you know. So he did bounce back, and that's good, you know. So maybe Evan Neal can't, you know. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. You know, we'll see. Will he be another Eric Flowers, or will he be another David Dill? You know. Number 4, scoring points. Now, see, I wrote it down. So I said things the G-men need in 2025 because this year is going to be a wash. We're not going anywhere. Um, and I don't want to sound like the Grinch. I really don't. But you could see the writing on the wall. I'm not making this up. I already told you that if my Giants do not make the playoffs, or if they finish with a piss poor record, I will delete this channel. That's how confident I am that I know what I'm talking about. Okay? Not bullshitting. I'm being honest. If the Giants have and I'm gonna write this down too. I'm gonna write this down. Today is what? The 5th. Okay, so this is this is gonna be the 6th of May. Okay, I'm gonna write this down. So May 6th. What time is it? 7:45 p.m. Uh, Date or year 2024. Time, month, year. Okay, and I'm gonna sign like that. So there you go. I signed it. Okay. So May 6th, time 7:45 p.m. year 2024. So when I go back and look at this time and date, I'm gonna come on here around December. And if my Giants are out of the playoffs or don't have a good record, then I was right. Cause I know a lot of people, I know a lot of Giants fans are going to overhype everything, right? Like we got fuck Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors can't do shit for us. He really can't. You know, it's the same shit that we did with Odell Beckham Jr. It's the same crap that we did with Odell Beckham Jr. There's nothing new. There's nothing new. The only difference is in 2004, we did draft Weston Richburg. And then after that, running back, safety, defensive tackle, and they all whiffed. None of them panned out. The only person that panned out was obviously Odell. So 10 years later, we didn't draft an O-line, but we drafted a receiver. No, we drafted a receiver, running back. We didn't draft any defensive linemen. We didn't draft offensive linemen. We did draft a tight end. So it all comes down to it all comes down to execution. You know, can the Giants go out and execute? That's just basically it. And I don't want to hear Giants fans whine and complain if we start off slow because we always tend to start off slow. You know, it will be interesting though when the schedule comes out because I do want to face the Eagles week 1. I don't want to keep on facing Cowboys. Like, listen, what the Cowboys did to us last year was last year. Okay, I want to face the Eagles because of the storyline and the drama because of Saquon Barkley. You know, that would be a great storyline. But knowing the NFL, they're not going to do that. They might probably uh, put us with a non-division opponent, or they might put us against the Cowboys again. You know, I don't think. I mean, it's rare for the Giants to face the Eagles. Like I think the last time we faced the Eagles, week 1 was in 2005 or 6. So we haven't really faced the Eagles all too much. Week 1, Washington, yeah, 2011, coming off our Super Bowl win. You know, with Cowboys multiple times. So we rarely face the Eagles week 1, rarely. But back to what I was saying. But yeah, number 1 quarterback, number 2 fix the old line, number 3 never build in free agency, and number 4 scoring points. The Giants have always been a team that struggles to score. They're great. They're great on defense sometimes. They'll be outstanding on defense, but they don't have the same tutelage like other teams have. You know, like a KC or a high-powered offense. Like every time we have it, we fail. Like Odell and Victor Cruz and Sterling Shepard, or this is going to be fireworks, and what happened? Nothing. You know, I mean, even when we had Toomer and Plaxico and Steve Smith, our Steve Smith number 12, we didn't really put up a lot of points. Or when we had the youngest receiving core in NFL history with Nicks, Manningham, and Smith. Again, our Steve Smith number 12. We didn't put up a lot of points. They were young. You know, um, even our two Super Bowl runs, we didn't put up a lot of points. We finished dead last in rushing, right? Second Super Bowl run, no, first Super Bowl run, we only averaged 21 points per game. Second Super Bowl run, we averaged 23 points per game. No, actually, we averaged 19 points per game. So the Giants have always predicated themselves on defense. That's why you never see them on these high powered radars, like if you know teams that's always in the high powered and stuff like that, like high powered offense, like the Giants are nowhere near to be found. But if you question their defense or if you put them on the defensive scale, they probably might be top five, top six, because their team was built on defense. You look at how many great defensive coordinators we have over the years. Like we had a lot of great defensive coordinators over the years, not offensively. Probably you could probably say Kevin Gilbride, but he was slowly deteriorating. So we had to move from him, and then we got Ben McAdoo. He was good for one for one solitary year, and then after that he just eroded. And ever since we just been going through offensive coordinators like flies. Like we can never have a consistent offensive coordinator. You know, um, so scoring points is going to be a big issue for this team. Can this offensive line get it right by week one? Can they give Daniel Jones enough time to throw in the pocket? Because there were some games where Daniel Jones was holding on to the ball. It was either because they were playing great defense coverage wise, or he was just too uh, passive, or not really passive, but he was just too scared. You know, it was either those two. It was either the defense was playing great coverage, or he just didn't want to force it into a bad, coverage. Which is smart. Throw it away or get the sack and live another down. So scoring points is going to be a must this year. Knowing that the weapons that we didn't really add too much except for the Malik Neighbors, but he can only do so much. It's not like we have, five Malik Neighbors. You know what I'm saying? He only has one. There's only one Malik Neighbors, I should say. So scoring points in 2024 is going to be a must. We have to keep up with these high power teams, the Eagles, the Cowboys. Now, the Redskins, or F it, I'm still gonna call them the Redskins. You know, because I grew up around the Redskins, so I mean I grew up around the name, because that's with their name. But obviously that whole I feel offensive for calling them the Redskins. And they changed their name like three different times. Washington football team. I like the Washington football team though. I don't know why they changed that Washington football team. And it fit with their logo too, Washington Football Team, WFT, Washington Football Team. But anyways, I don't know why they changed it to Commanders. Weird. But yeah, scoring points in 2024 is a must. It really is. We have struggled to score points as long as I can remember. You know, um, so scoring points in Malik, and like I said before, a wide receiver can only do so much. I don't think no wide receiver, I don't care regardless of what round or pick, can come in here and change this team. You know, I mean, a few wide receivers did it. Randy Moss, took his team to the championship, not championship, but NFL championship. But obviously, they got blown out against the Giants, 41-0. But even his rookie year, he's pretty good. Stayed healthy. You know, um, you look at Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Johnson, um, You just look at great teams. Great wide receivers that just didn't pan out. Um, so yeah, so scoring points is a must in 2024. Um, okay, and then the last one is owning ownership. Owning ownership, and what I mean by that, I mean John Mara. John Mara, to me, is one of the worst owners in NFL. Now there could be some bad ones as well, but he's probably on the top of the list of bad owners. Um, Ever since he dipped Tom Coughlin, or he gave Tom Coughlin the walking boots or the walking papers, this franchise has never recovered. Now I know a lot of people might say, well, it was because he lost the locker room, or players just didn't want to respond to him no more. Or it was time for a new leaf. I understand that, but I still believe that he can still coach at a high level. You know, I just think that they blackmailed him out of the NFL. You know, um, and then when John Mara went to go get up, I mean not get up, but stood up to go shake his hand, he gave him the cold shoulder. You know, and he said that, Eli, I'm not the reason why I'm leaving. Remember, you lose, we win as a team, you lose as a team, or we win as a team, we lose as a team. And you can see Eli Manning with a little tear in his face and stuff because they've been through a lot. You know, yeah, Tom Coughlin, throughout his, antics, whatever, getting mad on the sideline and just showing his emotion. That's because he cared, you know? I'm not saying he's a grumpy old dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's Scrooge, you know? Um, but he did really show another side when they won that first Super Bowl, Took everybody to In and Out Burger, took them bowling, you know like he was showing them, yeah, I'm a fun guy too, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he was all about business. you know why do you think Eli Manning has such great success with the wide receivers? It's because Tom Coughlin was a wide receiver head coach, right? um but like I said, when Tom Coughlin left, that team fell apart mentally. It has never recovered. It tried to recover. 2016, yeah, they were great. But it was because of the defense, not the offense. The year that they went to the playoffs again with Daniel Jones, they were facing a very bad defense. Um, what else? But kudos to them. I give them kudos. I'm not taking anything away from those two playoff losses, or actually one playoff loss. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not taking anything away from those playoff losses. But if you look at the situation, I mean, we stood no chance against the Eagles. A lot of fans wanted the Eagles. Like, yeah, we want the Eagles. Yeah, we're gonna beat such and such. Like, I knew the writing was on the wall when we faced the Eagles. We were not better than them, and it showed. We were better than the. We were better. We were way better than the Vikings, because obviously Kirk Cousins folds like a cheap tent in playoff games. You know, so they needed that quarterback, and I'm happy that they took JJ McCarthy. And I hope he balls out. Giants could have tried again. The Giants didn't want to make the same mistake that they did with Daniel Jones, but JJ McCarthy went to Michigan. I mean, you can't really compare Michigan to Duke. You really can't. One is a high-powered school, high-powered constructive school. The other one is obviously not. JJ McCarthy was playing with elite NFL talent. Like I think his name is Corbin, whatever his name is, the running back. I thought we was gonna take him in the second round, because we needed a running back. But obviously he's what, like 5'11", so like didn't we take Ahmad Bradshaw? Ahmad Bradshaw was like what, 5'10". He grew a couple of inches, don't get me wrong. But when we first drafted him, he was small, small dude, seventh round. But we wind up drafting Tyrone Tracy Jr. out of Purdue. Um, but it really doesn't matter. Um, it really doesn't matter. Ownership has robbed this team for years. Even when they had Jerry Reese, at least Jerry Reese went out and spent a boatload of money on the defense. It panned out, you know. But other than that, he was just not good of a GM. You know, he didn't want to retool the offensive line. He didn't want to rebuild the offensive line. He went out and made boneheaded decisions on the drafting. Players that we didn't really need. Like we drafted stupid players. Well, not really stupid players, but we drafted players that we didn't really need. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just focusing on rebuilding and retooling the offensive line, we went out and drafted players that we didn't really need. Now, you look at the Cowboys. You remember when the Cowboys had that great offense and everybody was just joking and putting out memes and stuff. Yeah, look who looks stupid now, right? Like they were actually calling that offensive line the Great Wall of China because DeMarco Murray I believe he was trying to catch he was trying to capture Eric Dickerson's record. And you said, "Oh, you just plug any running back behind the offensive line, they'll do the exact same thing," and he's right, you know. And I remember he went to Tennessee. They didn't want to pay him all that money, so he went to Tennessee, and I forgot who the running back was at the time. But even he did a little something as well. Um, so I just do think that the Giants need a regime, a brand new regime. Um, because the Giants are keep on making the same mistake year after year after year after year. Like I'm done with Daniel Jones. I gave him from the day he was drafted, not the day he was drafted, but because I always give a pass on their rookie year. Whatever they stink or they do good or they do decent, I always give a pass on their rookie year because it's their first year. You know what I'm saying? But second, third, fourth, like, come on, if you haven't done anything, like I know the Giants didn't really put the best foot forward in retooling and putting weapons and pieces around you to succeed. But again, it's on you too. I've dug in film and I've watched Duke highlights and I've watched Duke games where he went up against ACC opponents like Bama, not Bama, Clemson, Northern Ohio. Like he went up against teams like that. North Carolina, and he wasn't really that bad, but he was just thrown to a bunch of nobodies. He wasn't like he didn't have a number one. He didn't have a number one back. He didn't have a number one tight end, number one receiver. He was just playing with backups, and maybe that's how he feels comfortable. You know, Because once you take a person out of their element, they're not the same. Maybe if maybe he's comfortable throwing to a bunch of nobodies. Like when they won their first playoff game, look at the receivers he was throwing to. Now that he has a number one receiver, everybody's expecting him to do even more with less. Like that's the difference. Like, can you do more with less? You know? Like look at Eli Manning, had practical bursts. When he shot himself, yeah, it took a couple of years, but you know what? We found Victor Cruz, undrafted free agent. Eli Manning never missed a beat. We lost him, got Odell Beckham Jr. Like Eli Manning never missed a beat. You know, so like the ownership, the owning of the ownership has to have accountability because the owner is the one who hired these guys, right? And then the GM hires the head coach, and then the head coach, whether or not he wants to keep the um, previous head coaching, not previous head coaching, but if he wants to keep the old staff that was there before, he can. Or if he wants to fire all of them, they can. Just like how the Lakers did with Darvin Ham, they fired all his assistants or whatever. I mean, you look at Wink Martindale coming from Baltimore Ravens, a very historic culture in their defense. I mean, if you look at the names like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, you know, or Holy Alodi Nada, you know what I'm saying? Like they very groomed and disciplined on defense. Now Tennessee is not the best known for their defense, but it is what it is. But again, it's going to be a work in progress. Like I don't expect the defense to play lights out week 1, week 2, 3. Like it's gonna take them a couple of days or a couple of games to get it right. But you can't tell Giants fans that because Giants are impatient. Giants fans are the most impatient fan base that I've ever come across. Like they're not patient for nothing. They want everything just fast and this, and we want wins, and you know not knowing how the business actually works. They just want wins, you know, not knowing that you need protection to halftime throw, not knowing that you need consistency in the running game, not knowing that you need your receivers to catch, you know, and not fumble the ball or tip up in the air, or they catch it but the ball winds up slipping up in the air and they catch it and the receiver and then the defender catches it for a touchdown. You know, um, you just don't want to have any of those. But unfortunately, that's what comes with it. Um, Now moving forward, I think the best thing the Giants would have done or should have done was keeping Daniel Jones, because you don't want to have another quarterback that learned the system like Drew Lock. Drew Lock is going to have to learn their system. Whatever he was doing in Seattle, he's going to have to um, he's going to have to change that, because obviously what they do in Seattle is not what they do in New York. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to have to learn a new playbook. I'm not saying that it's going to be difficult because it's the same old playbook. They just run it different. Um, and then the negative is you brought back. Okay, there's only two negatives, right? For one, they bring back Tommy DeVito. Why? What has he shown? Okay, yeah, he stepped in and won a game, but he became a meme. he became a meme, you know, because the Giants wanted a boost. I don't know what like you had Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor was doing the exact same thing Tommy DeVito was doing. No difference. But again, Tommy DeVito can stay healthy. Tyrod Taylor can't. I think that's the only reason why the Giants didn't want to pay him what they wanted to pay him. You know, I'm pretty sure the Giants sent him the offer, but obviously his agent, which every NFL player has an agent, don't matter how big you are, you have an agent. You know, so I'm pretty sure his agent trying to lowball and say look, he's been your best backup. At least pay the guy what he's worth. You know, the Giants said leave it or take it, so he left it. So now he's with the Jets. And the Jets just drafted a quarterback from Florida State, Travis, I believe his name is. And I've watched a few of Florida State games last year. He was pretty good. He's pretty good. Very clutch player. Um, very clutch player. Um, so we were signed Tommy DeVito. That's a big L. Obviously we have done nothing in the O line. Offensive coordinator, we still got Mike Kefka, which is another big sign that we are regressing. Because if you're gonna bring a new defensive coordinator, why you still have the same offensive coordinator? You know, like like for what? What have Mike Kefka shown you that okay, his job is sterilized. It's it's um it's well done. You know, like what has you done? What has Mike Kefka shown you that his job is safe and secure? Not a damn thing. If it wasn't for you week 2, we would have been 0-3. If it wasn't for not Mike, if it wasn't for Brian Dable taking over in the second quarter, we would have been 0-3 because there was no way that we was going to beat the 49ers. And obviously it showed. You know, the game after that, Wink Martindale going back home or facing his former team, we got the W there. Um, so we was in a world of trouble if we didn't turn around that game in week 2 after we got blown out. Um, the defense still gave up. Let me see, 21. Listen, let me do the math real quick. 40 plus 21. We gave up, we in the first 2 games, we gave up 61 points on offense. 61 points on defense. Cardinals scored 21 points. Cowboys scored 40 points. So that's 61 points we gave up in the first 2 games. And as the season went on, we got significantly better or slightly better. Um, but yeah, we were signed Tommy DeVito. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know how bad this team is, you know. And we didn't change our offensive coordinator. And again, that goes to show you how bad the ownership is, right? Because if you're going to a new regime, you got to fix everything. The O line, the offensive coordinator, got to go. Mike Kefka, thank you for your services. There was teams that wanted him, but the Giants shut them down, which was stupid. Because for me, I would have traded his ass a long time ago. He has done nothing since he got here. What has he done? Shoot, freaking um, Ben McAdoo was better than his ass. At least Ben McAdoo saved Eli, not really saved, but he eliminated Eli Manning's mistakes. You know, Eli Manning, I believe he was coming off that 25 interception performance. He cut it down to 12. So at least he did something right. Mike Kefka haven't done shit. He hasn't done nothing since he got here. Like you can't tell me a game where he literally took over the offensive play calling. And now we have him again. Now I don't know if he's on a contract. I don't know if his contract expired. Probably probably so. But keeping Tommy DeVito and keeping Mike Kefka shows you red flags. Red flags. Because he should have got Tommy DeVito, should have got rid of Tommy DeVito, he should have got rid of Mike Kefka. Because both of those players haven't, or both of those people, I should say, haven't done dilly shit. And yeah, I mean, there's plenty of backups that can go out there and you win you 3 games. That's nothing new. That's nothing to gloss over. But when you're such a pathetic and bad team and bad franchise, you you take whatever you get. You know, you take whatever you get. So I'm done. Um, like I said again, and I'm gonna write this down as well. If the New York Giants don't make the playoffs or finish with a decent record, I will delete my YouTube channel and I'm gonna highlight this right here. So there you go. I wrote it down. Okay. So I did this on May 6th, 7:45, year 2024 p.m. I signed my name and everything. So I said that if the Giants do not win, they don't even have to win the division. They just have to have a decent record and make the playoffs. If the Giants don't make the playoffs this year, then it proves my point. If the Giants finish with a decent record, one of those two have to happen. Is either the Giants finish with a decent record or the Giants make the playoffs. If they don't do both, then I was right all along. And obviously, I'm always right about the Giants. Um, oh shoot, my Knicks play tonight too. Um, so yeah, my cousin's gonna pick me up pretty soon. Um, because he gets off of work around 9. So because I don't have cable, I only have internet, so I don't feel like. I mean, I could pay for NBA League Pass, but I mean, I might probably do that. I don't know. But anyways, that's why I'm dressed up in my gear. I don't know which gear to wear though. This one's being worn out. I only wear this like to go jogging or play basketball, stuff like that. 'Cause I don't want to play basketball in the new one. The new one, the bluish one is like going out, but this one is usually playing basketball or jogging, whatever. Um, because it's silk, that one is obviously cotton or whatever. Two different two materials. But thank y'all for tuning in. Let me know what you think. What should the Giants do? And again, um, number one, the things the G-men need in 2025. Quarterback fits the offensive line in the draft. Never build in free agency, scoring points, and ownership. Those are the 5 things the Giants need in 2025. Because this year is going to be a wash. And, I know Giants fans are optimistic a lot of the times and want their team to do better, but you're going to get the same routine. Nothing is going to change until the Giants could get a new offensive coordinator. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. I mean, the writing is on the wall. Like, I've been watching football long enough to understand and know how a good team and a bad team are. You know, like if you've been watching, if you've been watching the NFL as long as I have, and you can't see the writing on the wall, like you know when your team is good versus when your team is bad. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Like you know when your team is good and when your team is bad. I said last year the Giants was going to have a piss poor record. And I also said Daniel Jones is going to have a breakout year, which obviously I was right on one of them, right? I did say Daniel Jones was going to have a breakout year. That didn't happen. I also said the Giants was going to finish with a worse record last year. If I can find the video, it's probably somewhere in my playlist because I name every playlist that I have. So it's probably somewhere in my Giants playlist. I just have to go back and look where it is, which video I did it on. But I did say the Giants was going to have a piss poor record last year, and they did. Now I didn't expect Daniel Jones to have a bad record because and bad performance, but he got hurt. So you know, the games that he did play, that one game where Kadarius Toney went off, and then after that he got ejected for fighting, um, and then after that everything just went downhill from there. Um, but like I said, thank y'all for tuning in. And like, comment, subscribe, and just tell me what do the Giants need to do in order to get back in playoff contention. Because right now, I mean, they have the Washington Commanders in third. Out of all the standing box that I went through, because the schedule is coming out pretty soon on May 25th, I believe. So out of all the standings I did, there were a few of them that had the Giants dead last. There were like five. No, they were like seven people that had the Giants fourth. Only one person had the Giants third. So it is what it is. Um, but the writing is on the wall. And I wish Giants fans can understand and I wish that they could listen. Don't think with your heart, think with your head. You know, um, the writing is on the wall. And for the people that hated the pick, because I didn't like the pick at all. I think we could have went quarterback there round two. There's like a lot of good receivers. I mean, we don't really have to get a number one. You know, and I hate that notion that we got to get a number one. Like wasn't Antonio Brown the number one option in Pittsburgh? How that shit went out. I mean, wasn't Julio Jones the number one option in Atlanta? How did that pan out? So having the number one option don't mean crap. That's just code for saying we need help. You know, because you can't ask a receiver to come in and carry this team. This is not basketball. Everybody has to play a part. You know, um, so Like when Odell Beckham Jr. got here, yeah, I mean he showed a lot of flamboyant, you know, like he showed a lot of flamboyant. He showed like, oh, I'm big macho man and this and that. Like, I think sometimes the lights were too bright for him, and he acted like a rock star more than a receiver. Um, because I'm pretty sure if he would have done this anywhere else, he would have got the talking to. You know, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do that in New England. You know, like the way that Chad Johnson did it in Denver, not Denver, Cincinnati. When he went to the Patriots, he had to call all that crap out. You know, because they didn't really tolerate that crap over there. You know, he even said it himself. Like when he went to New England, very disciplined. Very disciplined. Cincinnati wasn't disciplined. That's why he was able to, you know, showboat and do all that crazy stuff that he did. You know, with Odell, there was nobody there to talk to Odell to calm him, to talk him down and do this because he was just a superstar. You know, but when he went to Cleveland, he was a shell of himself. And then after that, he decided to quit football. Until what's his name? Von Miller called him and say, "Look, you're still usable. You still have a great, you still have a lot left in the tank. Don't retire." And then after that, that's when he went to the Rams. He was very productive. Tore his ACL in the playoffs, or no, tore his ACL in the Super Bowl, and then after that, his wife was in labor, so he had to jet out and go to the hospital and stuff like that. Um, which I still don't think that's his child, but it is what it is. Freaking marrying these, dating these IG thoughts and getting them pregnant. It's like, I mean, that baby could be somebody else. Who knows? Um, the baby looks nothing like Odell, to be honest with you. But anyways, and then after that, he won the Super Bowl. Went to the went to the Ravens, lost in the playoffs. Now he's with the Dolphins. So he's bounced around quite from. He's bounced around. Um, and I don't think the Dolphins is going to win in the Super Bowl anytime soon. They might probably win a playoff game or win in their division, seeing how the Jets and Dolphins. I think that's going to be a three-way race. Outside of the Patriots, they're not going to be in any factor. So it's going to be either the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets. Um, for the NFC East, I think it's going to be a three-way race. I think it's going to be the Commanders, Cowboys, and Eagles. The Giants are obviously mathematically eliminated. Um, so, like I said, man, until the Giants can fix what they have to fix, they're going to be in the same position next year, even even worse. Because if Daniel Jones can't get it then, he's not going to get it now. Like, don't tell me all he needed was just a number one receiver. No, he had receivers to throw to. And I hate when people be saying that, oh, he ain't had nobody to throw to. He had receivers to throw to. What is he throwing to the freaking fans? What is he throwing to a ghost air? He's throwing it to air. Like he was throwing it to receivers. He had Slayton, he had Shepard, he had Robinson, he had Hyatt, he had Hodgkinson. Those are receivers. They're not household name receivers, but they're borderline receivers. They're still receivers at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So, um, it is what it is. But like I said, man, the Giants need to fix their priorities. The Giants know what's best for this team, and they just keep it going backwards. because every time the Giants don't draft a quarterback, it sets their franchise 5 years. 5 years, you know, and every time they don't select or pick a quarterback, they set them 5 years again. And I hear this talk about, oh, Andrew Luck is coming for Daniel Jones's job. Yeah, if he gets hurt, less preseason games, less OTAs, less mini camps. You know what I'm saying? Like I think next no July. I think yeah. I think July is the Giants' mandatory camp or whatever. Or no, they report their training camp around July. Other teams are June, but for the Giants, I know every year is always July for them. Getting 3 preseason games is not enough. Usually it was 4, but now they trim it to 3. Um, so, but yeah, if Daniel Jones gets hurt again, then yeah, it's his job to lose, you know. And Drew Lock was a first round pick, but obviously he didn't wind up. He didn't pan out. He wind up as a backup, and you can't give the keys to a backup quarterback. Now, there's been a few backup quarterbacks that actually won Super Bowls. Nick Foles. Um, who was that? Who was the quarterback for the Giants? Hofstetter, Jeff Hofstetter. Um, like those are the only two I can remember off the top of my head that actually won a Super Bowl while their starting quarterback was out. You know, I remember Philip Rivers broke his ankle, and he had to fill in for him. And the team just said, like, just go out there and play like you supposed to play. Don't force things. Don't you know? Just be yourselves. You know. And as for the Eagles, that playoff game where Carson Wentz broke his leg, I think it was at the goal line. He tried to cinch with. He trying to cinch. He tried to quarterback sneak it, but I guess his leg got caught in the middle. And then after that, Nick Foles just took over and he never left. He never looked back. Outplayed Tom Brady. So it can happen. I'm not saying that it can't, but what are the odds of that happening? You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, I mean, like I said, man, the Giants have a lot of soul searching to do. You know, I mean, not getting a new coordinator because usually when you get rid of your defensive coordinator, you're supposed to get rid of your offensive coordinator, right? Because Wink Martindale's been there with Mike Kefka. Like, why are you not letting go of Mike Kefka? Maybe you could have got some draft capital back. Who knows? I don't know if you can do that with a OC. I know you could do it with players, but I don't think you can do it with OC. I think with OCs is just strictly, let them go or you get some money in return or whatever. I don't know how that works, but we kept Mike Kefka, and that's a lot of things, and that's a lot of Giants. That's the things that the Giants fans don't talk about. Like we still have Mike Kefka. I mean, at least Wink Martindale's system worked. We don't know what to expect with this new defensive coordinator. So if the Giants start off slow again, don't be surprised. If they start off to a 0-2, 0-3 start, don't be surprised. Because now we don't have nobody to piggyback on. Or like, oh, just throw him out there. Like, no. Like, what are you going to do? Throw Tommy DeVito out there? Oh, he gave us some magic last year. Let's see if he can do it again. Not really. Drew Lock, really? Like, no, man. No. No. So like, comment, subscribe. I've been here for like an hour. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.